All right. Hey, welcome back, TFFL owners, to your weekly TFFL webcast. It is Thursday, November 12th, 2020. Looking back at week 9 TFFL action, looking ahead to week 10. Heading down into the final stretch here of the season. Joining me, as always, tonight, starting with our commissioner, king and ruler of the Lizards. Richard, how are you?
I am doing wonderful, thank you. It's a pleasant evening. We got Thursday night football, and I'm with some of my good friends on a webcast. And we're talking football.
You're drinking what tonight?
Tonight, we have a rather full glass, as my lovely wife was pointing out, that I may have gone a little overboard. But I was like, well, you can't just stop. It was close to the end of the bottle. This is a very hard bottle to find these days. Buffalo Trace. The good news is that I have a second bottle waiting for me that's unopened, which is why I felt good about finishing this bottle of Buffalo Trace. But apparently it's been very hard to come by during these COVID times.
It goes beyond COVID. Buffalo Trace and Blanton's, it just ran out. So they have to age some more. So it's very little getting out for the last 2 years.
There you go. Look at me. I'm rolling with Buffalo.
Sell that for about 3 times the cost.
I could sell my unopened bottle for 3 times the cost?
Most likely.
Awesome. Well, all those Buffalo Trace fans, for the Buffalo Bills at 7-2, looking to go to 8-2, we're celebrating Buffalo this week.
Do some hustling down by the package store.
Awesome. I'll send you the bottle. You could probably get top dollar down there.
I'd rather drink it because I can't find it.
There you go. Well, then, if you're willing to make the drive, next week's webcast can be here. I'll wear my mask, and we'll be all good. Anyway, welcome to the webcast.
Among our many former commissioners, the skipper of the Sponge, Chief.
Hi there.
And your mini helmet.
Mini helmets made the trip.
Yep. Made the trip where exactly? Where are you?
In the basement.
Oh, okay.
Made the trip from over there to here. It's about 18 and a half feet.
Berto, high command from Jack's Giant Killers. I know you've ordered your own mini helmet.
Yes, I'm very excited to receive my mini helmet. Maybe about 10 days ago, so it should be. I'm expecting it any day now. Here,
that's exciting.
And I want to share what I'm drinking tonight too. One of my favorite beers. This is Samuel Smith's Oatmeal Stout. This is a fantastic beer. One of my favorite.
Nice. Oatmeal Stout.
After doing the last couple webcasts on seltzer, I had to revert back to beer.
Chief, that's as big as your head.
And what is that?
This is Italian Pale Ale from my favorite Fredericksburg brewery, the Red Dragon Brewery. Very nice. Very nice.
Hi.
I'll happy to be taking any tubester there for a tour if they'd like to make the trip.
Okay.
Great on.
Make it an outing.
What's the name of the brewery again? What'd you say?
Red Dragon.
All right. Our IT director, czar and CEO of the K-Wheels, Hank.
Good evening, all. Happy to be here. Happy Thursday.
Hank, somebody pointed out to me this week that you're not always a very active trader, so your flurry. 4 trades now, 3 trades.
Yeah, I got 4 or 5 trades in the season, 4 at least. We did 3 in the course of one day.
Quite impressive on your birthday, no less, right?
On my birthday, I was feeling in a very giving mood on my birthday. But yeah, I mean, I think I don't. That was not necessarily planned. I think that we all know there comes a point in the season when, all right, what are you going to keep? What are you not going to keep? And if you can get some value for things you're not going to keep, try and do it. I'm sure we'll talk more about that as we go here this evening. But yeah, I feel pretty good about getting some good value for guys that are, good pieces for an active team right now, but I'm not. So good luck to all of my players that left my team, Robert Woods and Mike Williams and the like, Darren Waller.
I'm blanking on who it was I was talking to, actually. But, yeah, you did a nice job stacking draft picks and really orchestrating a lot of trades there in a short period of time. Very un-Hank-like, but well.
Very un-Hank-like. Well, hey, we got to try new things. The Hank strategies had not been working all that well. And so,
So now we trade with the Giant Killers.
Now I traded with the Giant Killers. Maybe the karmic gods will see that as some kind of, acceptance of my, defeat to the Killers in the Pac Bowl many years back, and getting over that hump, and maybe now we can get on with things and win myself the Pac Bowl.
Well, I wanted you to, beat yourself over the head or something after you made that trade with me. Like, you make the trade and then you write a hate note to yourself that you made a trade with Killers.
I didn't.
That didn't happen.
I'm very much at peace with it, Berto. I feel as though there's, there's a lot of
turned over a new leaf.
We're very good rivals, and I don't want to diminish our rivalry because I do really enjoy it. But man, I love you, and at this stage of the game, if there's a way that I can make sure that you win an extra game so that you're not picking ahead of me, and I can get the first pick in the draft, well, then that probably is a good thing for me.
Yeah. Now, well
I
done.
love it. You've turned over a new leaf.
We're trying some new things. We'll see how it works.
And I think for the history books, that was the first. I don't remember another one. There may have been some small deal, kicker, defense, something along the way, but I really can't. I don't even remember one of those.
Have you ever traded with Ralph?
Yes.
I don't think I've ever traded with Ralph.
Yes, Ralph and I have made not sporadic, but we have.
It's more of just I don't feel like interdivision trades would bother me even more if a player I got, like I traded Julio Jones to Chief, which is the player I probably had the hardest time letting go of. But I was like, I'm not going to trade him to somebody who, like Berto or Ralph, who he would doubly burn me. I mean, all right, so I gave him to Chief, and that worked out great for both of us.
All right. So speaking of Ralph, go ahead, Rich.
Have the aliens and lizards ever made a trade?
I'm sure we have. I'll see if I.
These are good questions you brought up, Phil. The interesting between you and Berto there. It's fascinating to know who haven't you traded with, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. But hang on, Chief is puzzled. Chief, I may be mistaken. I thought I traded Julio Jones directly to you, but I may have traded him to
Michael.
To Michael, and then Michael gave him to you.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, sorry, I thought I was directly to you. But the point being is when you let go of really good players from your team, you may have a hesitancy to say, "Oh crap, I didn't," which I may have done had it been somebody like Derrick Henry. And I did receive a very, very good offer for Derrick Henry. Very reasonable. If I was ever going to trade him, it's the kind of offer you say, all right, I can see that. I couldn't do it. I'm not trading Derrick Henry.
There's some people that are worth trading.
Yeah. So
maybe
I should have.
So I suggested this to Phil, and he probably didn't listen to me and has probably forgotten it already. So I'm going to suggest it here for Michael. There is a Derrick Henry, Patrick Mahomes trade that can be worked out. Watson and Henry for Mahomes and draft pick. There's some way you guys can work this out. Monster trade waiting to be had.
Why would he want to do that?
I'm not going to think through that.
Personally, I'd rather have Derrick Henry than Patrick Mahomes.
I'm telling you, this could be anyway. So speaking of Ralph and wrapping up our panel intros here, I invited Ralph to join us tonight. I'm pleased I actually got a response, and he can't join us, but it's because he is moving. Not back up to DC, unfortunately. It sounds like a local move. But Ralph, if you're watching us, good luck. We'll get you back on here from your new residence, your new studio, as soon as you're settled in. Let me give you guys a trivia question, and then we do have a lot to talk about this week. We always do. Last week, you might recall, I had a really good question, a surprising answer that stumped everybody. Who has the fewest ever division titles? The Senators was the answer to that question. Spin-off question this week, maybe an easier one, and I'm going to give you 4 possible points, 1 point for each division. I want you to tell me which team in each division has the most lifetime division titles.
Okay.
And if it helps at all to do the math in your head, believe it or not, we have 23 completed seasons of our modern era heading into 2020. So 23 division titles in each division.
There's the possibility of 23 division titles, and the question is, who has the most in each division?
Yes, I'm looking for 4 teams, one from each division.
Okay.
1 point for each.
1 point for each. All right.
All right. Rich, commissioner's report.
Yeah, I checked out the FAIR picks this week, and I'm sorry I haven't gotten them out yet, but none were impacting for tonight, so they will get out shortly, probably right after the webcast. So those will be out shortly. We had such a big flurry last week. It was fairly minimal this week, so not too bad. A lot of trades this week, and we're down to the last couple weeks of trading. There was one question that Fats had about, could he be able to move somebody off IR and drop someone? Is there a limit to that? There really is no limit to, if you have somebody on IR and you have to make space on your roster for that person when they come off IR, doesn't matter when it happens during the season. There's no limit to that. Meaning it doesn't have to happen before week 11. It could happen during the playoffs. Guy comes back, he's available to you. You can drop somebody off your team and take your guy off IR. That's why we have the IR slots, and that's the only stipulation is that the rule states you must be there at least 6 weeks. So as long as you're past that 6-week mark, you're good to go. I think that's probably the most important item to bring up. Other than that, we continue on. Not too much COVID action, although I'm going to be honest with you all. I'm getting worried. The NFL did release a contingency playoff plan. I haven't fully digested it myself. I saw it come by on email. I just didn't have time to delve into it and read it. I am going to digest it. I'm going to look at Michael's bit that he shared with me around how we might handle certain things if the season ends or they change stuff, and we'll adapt accordingly.
There is some irony to the NFL's COVID contingency plan being to bring more people together, to have more teams involved. But
that is irony.
Yeah. All right, Hank, TFFL standings through 9 weeks.
Yes, indeed. Let me get you guys sorted here with some standings. I'll blow myself up. Maybe not. Maybe this way. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Standings. We have a very nice symmetry at the top. We have 1 8-1 team in our Senators, who just defeated the 7-2 AMPAC, followed by the 6-3 Hams, and then the 5-4 Sponge and Aliens. This is going to be the last week we're going to do it this way. Going forward, we'll do it by division so we get some playoff action together. We also then have the guys who are still in it at 4 and 5, really trying to come up. The Killers, Mongols, and Devils. And then, of course, we have the Lizards, Fats, Beavers, and then the K-Wheels trailing at 2 and 7 and at the end of the road here. So those are your standings. We're going to start seeing some division level, leads and parities coming in together. But for now, the Sens AMPAC separated our top teams, and guys in the middle need to win.
I want to save the big discussion about the Beavers for just a few minutes from now, but hold that back up, and I just want everybody to kind of take a snapshot of something here. Because for all the talk about the Beavers tanking for the #1 overall pick, they are a game behind the K-Wheels and a tiebreaker behind the K-Wheels, and there are 2 other teams tied with them, 3 other teams just a game back. The Beavers could very well end up being like the #6 overall pick here, or certainly are by no means a lock to get #1, and probably the odds aren't very good that they're going to get #1. And whether I'm saying that to the league as we have this discussion, or I'm saying that to Bill to remind him that his moves, he's going to have to do a lot more, I think, to lock up the #1 pick. But keep that in mind. There's two other teams also at 3 and 6, and a team at 2 and 7 that's worse than the Beavers.
Yeah.
All right, let's start talking. Let me give you some headlines just to kick things off. Hank kind of illustrated this, but on the plus side, 2 big winning streaks still continuing, both in the same division, in the Sponge Fishermen's division. Senators, 8 straight games now, 8-1. Hormel Hams, 6 straight wins, 6-3. And the third team in that division is our defending champs, who are 5-4. That is one hell of a division going right now. It's probably worth flagging. When I was playing the Sponge in Week 9, I told Chief, I never give up hope. Damian Harris was playing Monday night. The Sponge were up by 10 points going into that. Aliens didn't have anybody left to go, but I told him if Damian Harris fumbles 11 times, I might just win. Ridiculous as that may seem, Berto really almost tried to make that happen in his 40-39 win, I think it was.
It was so close.
Where
that turned out the game of the week.
Tom Brady and the Saints defense going against Jared Cook, and Brady's throwing 3 interceptions and minus,
seriously,
ugly.
1 point game, but that 1 point game can change an entire season.
Yeah,
almost went backwards into a loss. Hey, on the injury front, there's actually kind of a positive spin here. The one new injury I thought really worth flagging was Christian McCaffrey goes down again, but he may only be out for a week or two, and keep that fact in mind for our discussion in a moment. But on the positive side of injuries, I think the news to watch here is the guys who are starting to come back who may make a big difference down the stretch. Nick Chubb for the Giant Killers. Austin Eckler. Rich, I don't know how imminent that is, but in the next couple of weeks maybe.
He put out something on his post the other day that said he was thanking all his fantasy people that didn't drop him.
All right.
And said, I'm about to reward you.
Okay. Just in time for the Lizards. And Raheem Mostert, I think, coming back soon for the Boba Fats, maybe juicing their lineup down the stretch here. Good news coming on the injury front there. Now, the other 2 big stories I want to talk about, and let's just start with the Beavers. I won't put this off any longer. Lots of trades going on in the TFFL. 2 big fire sales going on. The K-Wheels, as we've talked about a little bit already. The Beavers making big trades this week. I'm going to count on somebody else here to maybe have all the details of these trades in front of them. But the Beavers, what we need to talk about here is trading away Aaron Rodgers, their long time, I wish I knew the exact number of years, but 10, 12-year franchise quarterback, Aaron Rodgers.
2008.
Gone. What's that?
So it was 2008.
12 years. Okay. Gone from the Slippery Beavers, traded to the Sponge Fishermen, yes?
Yes.
Yep.
Welcome, Aaron Rodgers. And then they also turned around and traded away Antonio Brown to the Senators, I believe, getting back Preston Williams. Let me not even tee it up. Hank, I know you've been very restrained. Let it go.
Listen, I mean, as you mentioned, I was a very active trader and I was looking at the market and who might be available and which teams are looking for things. So I feel like I had a pretty good feel on, what opportunities were there. I think my biggest issue is that this is something that is not new to our league and is not something that is oh, wow, that was just kind of a bad trade. This is something where we have a rule in our rule book named after this exact same franchise who repeatedly does the same thing, which is when he's out of it, makes unbalanced, unfair trades to reduce the talent on his team, and whether he's trying to or not, arming other teams to, potentially do better things. And I feel like, look, I understand this is our league. We're playing for money. It's, playing for pride and friends, and hopefully nobody's really trying to screw other people this way. But I feel like we have this discussion about this franchise on a regular basis. And I think this week there were 2 clear examples. The Rodgers one first is I feel as though Aaron Rodgers is one of the best quarterbacks in our game. and he just got traded for a 2-6 swap. And that doesn't seem quite enough value to me. Maybe I'm crazy, and maybe he shopped him around and that was the best he could possibly do. I doubt it. The other one is a mind blower because he is receiving actually zero value for this trade. He traded Antonio Brown for Preston Williams. And Preston Williams is on injured reserve. He is not going to play again this year, which means that Thornburg will have to keep him in order to receive any value of any kind out of this trade that he made. And I don't think that that's right. I think at least, and now with our trading rules, we have a contingency plan where maybe it is, hey, if Preston Williams doesn't come back and play at least 3 games for me, I get a 6th round pick, whatever. That's not in there, and that's not part of this. And that's why, I gave Berkman a bit of a hard time, and I called him, we talked, and I told him, look, yes, it's just Hank yelling as I usually do, but there's an element of truth in this. And there's something that this is not okay that it's continually the same team that is having this issue.
Did the Beavers do something nefarious here or just dumb?
Here's
question mark.
Let me preface it this way. I don't recall what? I was told to bring a helmet. I don't recall this being a recurring problem of Beavers. I don't remember having this conversation before. Yes, we have the Beavers rules. If you remember, and if you don't, I'll tell you because I was the rules chairman at the time. The Beavers rule was because he had a defense on bye, and he'd rather have capped the FA pick.
Right. Start a lineup
instead of using it, which is kind of zero, And so, we got to talking. Yeah, you're really not trying to win at that point, and that's actively trying to tank a game. I don't recall this thing. I've never seen a trade like this, where it's essentially, I'll give you this pretty good player for a player who's much worse, straight up. It's mind blowing. Now, I was the first one to email, but that was generally a response to Kramer blasting, calling for review on the Rogers trade. Listen,
I figured as much.
Roger, otherwise I wouldn't have said anything. Rogers trade.
There's a lot of bluster. Right?
The Rogers trade, like I said, a 2nd round pick seems to be the usual trade for a good quarterback. He benched him in favor of Sam Darnold and Jimmy Garoppolo last year. He drafted Matt Ryan the first year this year. Bill obviously thinks that he's winding down and wants to get something in value before he's worthless. So I kind of get that. I don't think that's the same as the Brown trade. I'll also say Brown was offered to me for almost free. And my answer to Bill was, I won't take him for free. So I'm not even complaining that I didn't get a chance to get him. I didn't want him on my team for any cost.
I think that right there, what you just said was how a lot of people feel, by the way.
And so just to put a bow on it, I've realized there's a slippery slope when we're asking the commissioner to avoid trades. I don't want to go into that, go beyond that door. I don't like the precedent, but I think if we're ever going to do one, this was probably the one. This is a guy, and look, Brown can help him. Brown would be a good keeper for that franchise.
He might be.
Potentially. We don't know what's going to happen to Brown after this year. He might be in jail. I don't know. But it would seem a worthwhile gamble to a guy who's certainly not going to be a keeper. So it seemed like the only thing he was accomplishing with this trade is not have to answer tanking questions with Brown on his bench in favor of whoever he's got to start instead.
And Rogers no longer on the roster because he got rid of him for a second.
Well, let me tell you, Bill is got to get the 1st overall draft pick. He said nobody left. But it seems like that was the motivation to make this trade. How can I win no more games, but be able to do it, I don't want to say above board, but do it legitimately without benching all these good players? Well, if not on my roster, I can't bench him anymore. So to answer your question, which was, is it, I don't remember the words you used, nefarious, or I don't know if you gave an alternative after the or not.
Dumb.
Oh, just dumb. It wasn't just dumb. It was not. I don't know what degree of nefarious it rise to. But it wasn't simply stupidity. It wasn't that, oh, I thought Williams was a better player. He's got to have a better career. No, it wasn't that. It wasn't that.
I disagree. So, and here's why. I think it was not nefarious. I think it was just dumb. Bill had offers. I made an offer to him. I know that. I think others did as well for Antonio Brown. That was a pick offer, right? He should have taken that pick offer. Now, if he had traded me for a 2022 draft pick, whatever that was that I was offering, no one would take the tact that Bill is being nefarious, underhanded about how he's operating his franchise.
That would be a perfectly acceptable trade
for a pick, and that pick, in essence, doesn't help him this year anyway.
Right.
So he's not. It's not nefarious. It's just dumb, right? It's just dumb. He didn't think this through. He should have taken my offer or somebody else's offer who had a pick over value. But here's the thing. Bill fell in love with Tua. Preston is the wide receiver down there. He likes that connection for whatever reason, and he thinks Preston Williams is a keeper candidate. Period. Is he? In my mind, no. But that's where Bill's head is at. And the thing about Rodgers, and Chief just said it, I think, or somebody just said it. I think it was Chief. He has been trying to unload Rodgers for a long time, and he was looking for the opportunity. Like, it's looking for the opportunity to get rid of him. And, a second-round pick, isn't horrible. I don't know what else he would have gotten for it. And I also think that if he didn't trade him now, at least for that pick, looking at the landscape of who has quarterbacks right now, I don't think he gets a second-round pick for Rodgers in the offseason.
No way.
Right. So in that sense, it's not, that trade isn't horrible. I think the Tua trade was worse, and I think the Preston Williams trades were worse. I don't think the Rodgers trade was all that bad, but I don't think it was nefarious. I just think, he stubbed his toe, and at least, get a better keeper-worthy guy, or just take the draft pick.
Get a draft pick. Get something of value, and there's no tangible value there. There isn't.
Rich,
all right, so Stick, go ahead if you want, and then I'll finish up.
You talk to a lot of owners.
I'm happy to have you weigh in before I finish up.
Okay. So I had well, first off, as Berto pointed out, listen, the outcome of this in terms of Bill positioning himself for the number one pick was going to be the same. We all knew he was going to trade Antonio Brown the moment he signed him. He was going to trade him. It's really, there are two questions I've got, and they're both the same question. Why? Why did he not go for the division title? We sat here on the webcast last week, and at least one of us said the Beavers are going to come back and win this division. They then promptly went out and put up 75 points or something, as teams are wont to do against the K-Wheels, but nonetheless, put up 75 points. McCaffrey came back. I know he's injured again, but only for a week or two. The Beavers are now 3-6. Both of his division rivals lost. He is one game out of the playoffs, trying to pick up that game against the Mongols and the Devils with Aaron Rodgers and
McCaffrey and
on
games ahead. He's got head-to-heads with both the guys.
Why is he continuing with the fire sale is question one, and I'm not sure we're going to answer that. And then if he is not going for the division title, why isn't he getting a draft pick that's going to help him in 2021? I don't buy that Preston Williams is anything of value.
No.
18 catches in 8 weeks this year. 18 catches.
And his keeper audition's over. You're not going to see anything more from him.
He's done for the year. He is not going to play again this year. Undrafted free agent in the NFL. This guy, as much hype as there is, he has not demonstrated and won't get to demonstrate he's going to be a keeper. You should have taken a draft pick. There you go. There's my rating.
Yep.
There you go. So all I have to say about it is, yes, I talked to a lot of people yesterday. I looked back and I looked at the rankings of Preston when he was active and where sort of he was in the mix of things. Guy had 4 touchdowns, 6'5". I think he's actually contentious with Parker if Parker's around next year relative to their number 1 receiver. When you look at Antonio Brown and the value of him, John said it. There's not a lot of buyers. Too much risk, high reward. Kramer's a guy who's willing to take that high risk, high reward. And he went out and negotiated and pushed the buttons, and whatever he did, he got it over Berto's offer, whatever that was, for a pick in 2022, right? Whatever the decisions are, it's no different than beauty's in the eye of the beholder. There is nothing of malintent on Thornburg's part or the Beavers' part to tank purposely from the aspect of just giving away somebody to Kramer to go, hey, something underhanded. Let me go give this to Kramer to win the league so that you do X. Dumb? Could he have gotten more? Could he have waited another week? There's lots of what ifs there. He was clearly feeling like he was at a point where he was ready to unload and stick. To your point, whether his frame of mind is in the right place relative to whether he can win or not, it's irrelevant. In his mind, it's where he is with his team, and that's the decisions he made. I don't question stupidity or question. If I had gotten a whiff that there was malintent here in any way, shape, or form, underhandness from, I'm going to trade you this for this guy. I don't think the Beaver rule applies in the same way relative to a team. What I saw on the whole was basically a team that had already resolved themselves to move on to next year, which is fine. There's lots of teams that do that. I think he'll still put a competitive lineup in every week and may not end up with the number 1 pick. I also think that Kramer may end up doing more damage than good by playing Antonio Brown. So I'm not very confident that, the value that everyone perceives Antonio Brown is because of the name of who he is. The guy's played 1 game in 2 years. Or I'm sorry, 2 games in 2 years, right? So if you want to take that risk, great. I wanted nothing to do with him. I don't want to give away a pick for him. I don't want anything. I want nothing to do with Antonio Brown. So others might. And for Kramer ditching somebody, anyone else could have made that offer too of another wide receiver for an even swap, but nobody was. So he got it. And I don't see a problem with that on the whole. What I see a problem with is his valuation scale of what he perceives to be of value to him. Now, again, beauty being the eye of the beholder, I look at a guy like Preston Williams and I say 6'5", 4 touchdowns on the year on 18 throws. That's pretty fucking awesome. I'll tell you that, that's like Mike. Look, you would if you go look at Mike Evans, you'll say, holy shit, 6 touchdowns on like 12 throws, right? Is he a keeper? Damn straight he's a keeper, right? So we could do a lot of analysis on numbers and where things are. I don't think Preston Williams is out of the realm any worse than keeping Tony Pollard or somebody in the top 120 or 130. So let's see how it unfolds. But overall, no malintent. Kramer benefited, maybe not. We'll see. Bill got a guy he wants right now for what it is. And I think that, as I put in my communication to all, could there have been a step back to say, hey, are there other things I can build in? We built the rules of contingency picks and draft picks and other types of things to make equitable trades on what if scenarios. I don't think that was explored here. It probably should have been, in case you could have put together something that says, if Antonio Brown doesn't start XYZ games or gets arrested again, and if Preston Williams remains on IR in the next season, this is what happens. Yeah, I think so. But sometimes in the heat of discussions and just being frustrated, you just, you're at your wit's end and you let it go. So it is what it is.
All right, so we've agreed on two things here then with that statement. Number one, Thornburg is an absolutely terrible trading partner. In terms of, actually, he's a great trading partner for anybody who's trading with him because he has no idea in terms of relative value and what you should get for making a trade. Okay, we agree on that. Second
I don't know that I agree on that. What I would say is the value's in the eye of the beholder, and your opinion may be different than somebody else's.
Yeah, but I think universally we agree. I think universally we all agree here.
Okay, I'll just leave that there. Then maybe I said what it should have been left unsaid. Okay. The second thing that I will say is Kramer knows how to play Thornburg like a fiddle, and he knows how to get Thornburg. And I know this because I too am fairly skilled at the instrument of Thornburg. But Kramer is a maestro, and he is very good at getting what he needs out of Thornburg and collusion, whatever you want to call it. Thornburg, you're a terrible trader. Kramer got something for nothing that he should never have gotten. It's all out of order. Whatever.
You know what's funny?
You know what? Go ahead, Berto. Sorry.
I was just going to say, we as a league, and I tend to do this too, we forget about the conditional trade components, right?
Why I brought it up.
And it's the whole conditional trading thing, like, I forget. I'm like, I could have put some conditions on that, and it's always after the fact. Like, why didn't I say that if Darren Waller does whatever, I'm gonna get it's gonna be a different. And I always forget to include that until it's too late. But we all remember that.
Bill is our rules chairman.
We've built that into our rule book, and we should utilize that more.
Bill wrote our rule book.
That has nothing to do with anything, Stick. I mean, yes, great. He's the rules chairman. But the bottom line is that I think it's still a relatively new rule. I think it's only been around for under 5 years for sure, right? 3 years? I don't know. Whatever it is, it's still relatively new. And that's why after thinking through, and believe me, I actually went back. I did research on these players. I went and looked at, rankings and other types of things and just to check stuff out. And that's when it hit me to go, what really would have been good here is to have some conditional aspect to this trade.
No, you're absolutely.
So let's take that as a lesson for the league to maybe think about that as you go forward, where conditional, and I'll be honest with you, as a guy who has to keep track of that shit in our essential doc, I'm not necessarily fond of doing it, but it's what we put in place. And I think that there's value to why we put it in place. And so I'll just mention that to the league. There's 2 weeks left of trading until the day before Thanksgiving. And so have at it. I'll record it. Be patient with me as I try to get it. Hank corrected me on one of the mistakes I made. I encourage everyone to go check out the essential doc and make sure I got shit right. I'm, got a lot going on over here. I try my best, but I'm not, I could make a mistake here and there.
You're doing a hell of a job, Rich. Don't sell yourself short, son.
I'll trade you an 8th round pick, but if the webcast panel blasts it, it upgrades to a 6th.
Like, well, a panel of 5. If a majority of the panel disapproves, right?
Yeah.
No, and it's a good point about the conditional picks. And Rich, I don't agree with Phil. I don't think there's any crime here. I don't think this should be vetoed. But I do think there are, several instances here where Bill was a little sloppy or not aggressive enough. He could have still gone after the division title. He could have gotten better trade value for 2021, I think. And yeah, as our rules chairman, he of all people should have the conditional picks in mind and negotiated some conditional proposals in there.
Well, 2 things. I'm going to go back and blame this on Phil because if he didn't badger Bill every time he makes a trade with the Killers, then he would have traded AB to me for that pick in 2022. So it could be Phil's fault.
It all comes back to Phil.
Berto, listen, you and I were doing so well, and here you go lobbing grenades. We were doing so well. Listen, I don't know why Bill didn't trade, and I did not talk to Bill. Yes, I have a general philosophy of never trade with Berto, but guess who just broke that philosophy?
Yeah, there we go.
I didn't make any comments.
The gates are open.
And yes, but so why wouldn't he take a draft pick? He should have taken a draft pick. That's a better trade. And I guess my point is,
I mean, I don't know. Who knows what else was part of that trade? Was there a player plus a trade? Was it just a trade? And was that trade pick in 2022? Does that help me now? I mean, there's lots of what ifs, Hank. You could say that, and that's your opinion.
All right, fine. We'll put this to bed, and we will move along because Stick has said, I don't agree with Hank, and Berkman doesn't want to rule on it, and blah, 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 blah. Can we agree
on it? What do you mean?
When we have this discussion again next year, I don't have to say anything because you guys will be the ones leading the charge to say, Thornburg, you're not getting away with that crap again.
Well, I'll still be commissioner next year, so we'll
you're in charge.
So we'll continue to roll. You know, and I think there's lessons learned here. I think there's opportunities, conditional picks. But again, I made a decision. So you know, I did not make a decision. So that the decision is done. But outside of that, hopefully there's some really good takeaways from it.
And the silver lining is he's playing the Killers this week. So
of course he is. Of course he is.
Watch him win.
All right. So my next
still gonna suck when he beats me. Fuck.
My next topic is sure to rile Phil up just as much, but we can't ignore them any longer. We really have not put the spotlight on the Amsterdam Packers this year as much as we should. They're 7-2, which is not the greatest record of all time, but they are 7-2. Last week, what was it? 95 points. Darn it, they fell short of 100 once again. But for the fifth time now in 9 weeks, 5 times in 9 weeks, Amsterdam Packers have been the league high scorer. They have the number 1 scoring quarterback in terms of points per game. They have the number Russell Wilson, in case anybody needed me to clarify that. The number 1 running back in terms of points scored per game, Dalvin Cook. And I think the number for Cook is just ridiculous, like 19.3 points per game. You look at, the gap between him and everybody else who's down there, like, great running backs averaging 10, 11 points a game, and Cook is 8 points better. Number 3 scoring wide receiver points per game in Tyreek Hill. He's got 3 dominant players and is week to week putting up immense point totals. I don't know if I have a question here other than, I think we have been ignoring this team a little too much. This looks like a really, really strong team. Are they to you guys? Are they head and shoulders the favorite as we head toward the playoffs here?
It's all downhill from here. Listen, this team is really good, but I'm trying to find some holes here, and a hole could be, running back, frankly, after Dalvin Cook, because that could be an issue. Zeke isn't quite Zeke, or the Dallas sucks. Ingram has been hurt. So, that could be an issue, running back depth, possibly. But, I'm nitpicking. It's a really good team. And are they the best team? I think so. So, you just said it yourself. All of those scores, 5 out of 9 weeks, highest scoring team. This team is really good. But, there's still a ways to go here. And, he's been pretty – Ingram's been hurt. But other than that, he's been pretty lucky with the injuries. And anything can happen here. He gets one key injury. Dalvin Cook, man, he goes out, or Tyreek Hill, and he's got some challenges.
Well, I've made the point before that I think the Sens are the top team, 1 through 20, top to bottom on their roster.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But the AMPAC probably have the best starting lineup. But yeah, if one of those 3 guys I just mentioned goes down, they don't quite have the backups to step up.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. The Sens have the best depth. Yes.
Listen, the AMPAC have had a very good team for several years. Ralph would be the second person to tell you he's grossly underachieved the last several years. I'm going to be the first to tell you that. You look at this lineup, and you had expected probably 2 pack, or to be in 2 packed bowls at least in the last 4 years. We're in November now. November's different. Okay? You notice in any quarterback, you can talk Peyton Manning, you can talk Tom Brady, you can talk Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes. The second half of the season is a lot harder than the first half. All these quarterbacks who've thrown like 50 touchdowns, like 38 of them were in the first half of the season. And then it kind of slows up. The weather gets colder, the wind, the snow, the mud. There's more film. You have the injuries by attrition. So it's a lot harder to go. So when you have a quarterback-driven team, and you would say the impact along with the Hams are exactly that, there's a lot of bad things that can happen. And so what looks like a runaway train through September and October starts to slow up a little bit in November in the playoffs. So I would have no problem saying, yes, they're the best team or a very close second best team at TFFL. That's as of this moment right now, and it might not be the same 4 weeks from now.
I'll just remind everyone that the Senators just beat the AMPAC, so the Senators might have something to say about who the best team in the league is. So let's not blow up the AMPAC any more than we already do. Look, Russell Wilson is awesome. He is a fantasy football stud, and he scores a ton of points. And Ralph has had him as that anchor, as Berto and I painfully know, he's the leader of that team. Now you throw in Ezekiel Elliott and Leonard Fournette when he was doing it, and Dalvin Cook. Those three for last few years have been quite the three-headed monster. And then you get Tyreek Hill and Keenan Allen and whichever other wide receiver du jour that he wants to throw in there. Fine. The Packers have done a really good job. They have. They sucked for a long time in order to be good like this, and hopefully that's what I'm going through, and we'll come out where the AMPAC are. But they've Ralph's done a fine job of amassing talent. And we'll see if it's enough to hold on. But I do agree that the game changes a lot as we get here into the colder months. But honestly, I think that actually helps the teams with better running backs and players like Russell Wilson who are on better teams playing for playoff position because they just play more and they play harder. So
unless the Russell Wilson gets his ass kicked by Josh Allen, but that's another story. Just real quick on the Packers, I think that their key. I agree. I think the Senators are the best team in the league, top to bottom, talent-wise. And the reason that it trumps the Packers is that what Berto was alluding to, which was health, and there's not enough depth on the Packers to survive some issues that may occur down the stretch, where I think the Senators can withstand that a bit more. He's built a solid team with amazing running backs, rotated in some good wide receivers. Hill is the star there. I'm not that impressed with Parker. And then if you look the rest of it, Josh Gordon is sitting there for something. I don't know. But you get my point. You're wasting draft picks. You're wasting FA picks on crap, right? So you wonder why there's no depth there. That's part of the reason. So I admire his team. I admire what he's built. I admire how good they are. The fact that Dak Prescott is out and now Ezekiel Elliott's almost worthless is gonna hurt. The depth and the health, I think, are the Achilles heel right now for that team.
But let's not gloss over this loss of Preston Williams for the Senators. That can kind of tip the balance over towards the AMPAC.
Well, that's impossible because he was on IR.
Chief, you're just trying to piss me off, aren't you?
By the way, Nick, you were incorrect. He had almost 40 targets, by the way.
Preston Williams?
Mm-hmm.
And he's caught 18 of them.
Yeah, not bad.
I think he's a keeper-worthy guy. You should trade for him.
I
heard you can get him if you have Antonio Brown.
6'5", second year, 23 years old, 4 touchdowns in 9 games. Not too bad.
Keep him.
When you look at wide receivers out there.
Hey, it's the only way you get value is to keep him.
He might.
I liked whoever's suggestion that was that the solution to all this is just Bill committing right now. He will keep Preston.
I'm keeping Preston Williams.
Right.
If he does that, I can say nothing. Great, good, fair enough. Good luck to you.
We have a whole off season to wait and see what happens there.
Which, whether he commits to it or not, has to be the intention here, and I still don't endorse
He
it.
likes Preston Williams a lot more than anybody's giving him credit for.
No, we're giving a lot of credit for
honestly, like
let's
not forget that Bill knows Antonio Brown pretty darn well. I mean, the guy could have slept in his bed, for him being a Pittsburgh Steeler and all the love he had.
That will be next webcast.
Anyway,
this just in, Kramer and I are working on a text chain here that I'm going to end up trading him DK Metcalf for Antonio Brown, and maybe and the rights to Preston Williams later.
Yeah, I got a text here too about that.
I mean, come on. I mean,
all right, let's move on.
No, I don't have any text.
Bill being the college football guru, maybe I don't remember where Preston Williams went to school, but maybe he's very high on the guy. I don't know, for his college days.
Or maybe he's just very high.
That also, look, this is called the Tubesters League for a reason. So there you go.
All right, Colorado State is the answer to that question, by the way.
Okay.
Let me give you another answer. Let me give you your trivia answer. I've got 4 answers, in fact. I'm looking for the all-time leader in division titles in each of the 4 divisions.
Are we there already?
We're going to, I'm doing this, and we're going to do the schedule, and we'll still be an hour here. So NOCO East, the answer is the Amsterdam Packers with 12 out of those 23 division titles. I think you all got that one. NOCO West, a little tighter there, but it's the Aliens with 9.
You guys both got that. Not bird on me.
That is the tightest of the 4 divisions. Aliens with 9 lifetime.
We all have the Devils and Hams.
Fats and
Rich and
Lizards.
I have the same answer.
In the West, it is
How many titles did I have? I missed them.
You have 7.
How
Fats.
many do you guys have?
Aliens have 9. Fats have 7. Lizards have 7. SoCo West, it's the Hormel Hams with 11 of the 23 division titles.
3 out of 4 so far.
You got them all.
In the SoCo East, it is the Dirt Devils.
Yes.
With 12, tying the AMPAC for the most all time.
I love it.
So Chief and Berkman get 4, and Berto and I get 3.
Yeah.
All right.
That was worth 1 point each. Is that what it was? There should have been a bonus for getting all 4.
No.
Too late.
Y'all get some points tonight.
I love it.
All right. Hank, do you have all the
The one that took the most time for me to think about was the Hams. The others all came very quickly.
All right.
Once I knew the Senators was so low from last week, I knew it wasn't going to be me. That was pretty easy. The aliens, lizards, and Boba Fett made me think for a while.
That even for me that was tough. I had to.
That was my only one I really thought.
And I said, I think Stick eat to be out of
Go back and forth between the Aliens and Lizards, but
so Rich, do you have a schedule for us? Let's
No.
start talking about week 10 here.
Yeah, the Lizards are leading the Sponge right now 7-0. The only other scores going on: the K Wheels 2-1 over the Mongols, the Boba Fats and the Sens. It should be a good game, actually. I think that might be better than people think. But anyway, the Boba Fats are up 1-0. I think the Aliens and Hams are a great game this week. What I mean by that more than anything is the directions of the team. I think if the Fats can somehow get a win over the Senators, that's a huge bit. And if the Aliens can't survive the Hams, that's a huge bit. And if the Lizards somehow can manage to scrap together enough points to beat the Sponge, all of a sudden that's a 1-game, run for the division. Even though I only have 3 wins and the Fats only have 3 wins, it sort of mirrors what's going on in the Beavers division, yeah. And then the Devils and AMPAC, that's a great game, and that's going to be a closer one than I think people think as well. I think a lot depends on Lamar Jackson there, just relative to he hasn't performed like you would have expected him to. this year. And when I say that, it's not like people figured him out as much. You just expect him to be at a slightly bit higher caliber, and it's almost like the Michael Vick effect to a degree. It's interesting because there was a ton of hype, MVP, the rest of it, where he is now. It's interesting. Beavers Killers are the ones that wrap that up. So I got it right. Lizard Sponge, Beavers Killers, Mongols Wheels, Boba Fett Centers, Aliens Hams, Dirt Devil Zampack. I like the Dirt Devil. I don't remember what I called for the game of the week, but I think the Devil Zampack might be it.
Well, it's certainly not the Beavers Killers because the Beavers just laid down.
Well, let's see.
Yeah, I'm still not worried about it.
You're gonna get a wild card spot.
It's less than 10 points by if you believe anything that com.com talks about. But I mean, look, Josh Jacobs, Chris Godwin, Jordan Howard, the one-line touchdown machine. Tua's not bad. Fulgham, McManus seems to kick more field goals than anybody else. We'll see. We will see. Ain't over till it's over, as they say. You got to play the games. How many times have I had a player this season play one snap and finish their game?
7.
It feels that way, John. It feels that way.
At
least 3 times. At least 3. I can name 3, but outside of that.
So that just to make this clear, that Aliens Hams game, the Hams are missing Patrick Mahomes this week to a bye. So heading into this week, it was pretty much a 50-50 game. And Rich, I think you're right. Our division may end up being just as bad as the Beavers, Devils, Mongols. It might be a 6-win division in the end. So I'm kind of thinking right now, not to be too cliche, but take it 1 win at a time. Let's go get 1 win, get to 6 wins for the Aliens, and a 50-50 game here with the Hams. Yeah, this is a big one.
Well, it says a lot about the competitiveness of the league. It says a lot about the injury situations that people have faced this year. And again, I'll wrap it up with saying it's 2020, baby. Anything's possible.
Any other thoughts on the games this week, boys?
No.
No,
All
I'm
right.
just watching see what the Colts do on 4th and 4th.
Are they
and
going
less than-
for it?
Did they
trying
get
to
the first down?
They had a touchdown. It was called back, and now it's
on 3rd and 1.
now it's fourth and like 2 feet, maybe 4 feet. I'll go
Jordan
for it.
Wilkins
Good.
just got stuffed.
You want to give us the
Oh,
play-by-play?
that was third. That was 3rd down.
That was 4th
Yeah.
down.
Now
Tennessee
it's
ball
4th,
on 1.
and they are stuffed again.
Wilkins
No
gets
points.
stuffed.
No
Oh,
points for Rodrigo.
I got you. I'm ahead of you.
Who started Wilkins? Somebody started Wilkins. Stick.
I didn't even start Hines. He has the touchdown and over 100 yards. I got 12 points on my bench. He's the hardest guy to freaking start because you never know. And so many of these running back situations, they're just going with the flow of the game. You don't know who to start.
All right. Okay. Hey, we are just under an hour, which is great. Love seeing you guys every week. Again, every week's a big week. Week 10 coming up here, starting already. Not a great start for the Aliens, it seems, but good luck to everybody. We may have a little more clarity.
What is
4 weeks. 4 weeks left of the regular season.
4 weeks
The
left
TFFL season.
to the TFFL season.
Is that the Tom Brady sign?
Variety test.
Is that the Tom Brady sign?
4th down, right? No,
Right.
yeah, we say it every year how fast the fantasy football season goes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like it's including this week, 4 more weeks.
Yep. And 2 more weeks
insane.
until our trade deadline. If I'm less than 2 weeks until our trade deadline now.
Yep.
So yeah, good luck everybody. Have stay safe out there. Good luck in week 10. We
Like a week and a half.
Yeah. We may or may not get some clarity on the playoff picture, on the draft pick picture, or it may just get mushier as we go here. But that's part of the fun. So yeah, good luck, and we'll see you back here next week. Take care.
Cheers.
Wear your helmet.
Where